Hi guys, welcome to Jungle HQ. Let me take you on a tour through my gym. Okay, when you find yourself coming in through the front door to the right, we have a little bit of a stretching and warm-up area with all our bands, and very soon to be relocated, our heavy bag for those that like to do some boxing. Also, we've got our kettlebells, accessories, ab mats, and so forth. But along the right-hand wall of the gym, we have it organized with the majority of our leg equipment. So coming through piece by piece. First off, we have our kneeling hamstring curl, which is done unilaterally. We've got the belt squat, which is a fantastic piece for, I guess, training the lower body, particularly in those that want to do, I guess, higher reps at the end of a posterior chain session, or somebody that's got lower back pain, because with the distribution of that weight being hung off the belt in the lower back, we get no pressure with any spinal load or I guess dangers in leaning forward. So really good piece for those looking to get some intensity into their leg training while I guess avoiding any lower back pain. Speaking of lower back pain, we've got the reverse hyperextension, which was made famous and designed by Louis Simmons in the 70s after he broke his back, and in attempts to rehab it doing a normal hyperextension, was unable to, but discovered that in the opposite direction, he was pain-free, getting a really good, I guess, recruitment of the entire posterior chain, being the hamstrings, the glutes, the erectors, and the lats. So unlike most machines, this is one of the only places where we want to use, I guess, controlled momentum. So swinging on that pendulum is a very unique experience in the way that when we swing down, it acts as decompression of the lumbar spine, and on the way back up, you get that contraction through the entire posterior chain, as we mentioned. So great piece for anybody who's looking to, I guess, strengthen their lower back and posterior chain, but also for those that spend a lot of time sitting, whether it be desk work or at the start or the end of any, heavy squatting sessions. Any real gym you'll see will have a reverse hyperextension in it. Coming forward, we have the seated hamstring curl. I opted to go for the plate loaded option as opposed to the pin loaded. I personally find the plate loaded machines are a little bit truer. They're more honest work. They're heavy in relation to gravity, and the machine doesn't tend to do any of the work for you. So in regard to hamstring builders, I would argue that the seated hamstring curl is probably one of the best growth builders that you can have. Unique leg extension here we've got built by Prime. Okay, anybody who knows their gym equipment knows that Prime is one of the top brands that you can find. It has, I guess, the kidney here, which selectorizes, changing where the resistant curve, I guess, is at its heaviest. So on setting number 3, you're going to find that it's the heaviest at the bottom and then gets lighter at the top. 1 gives us a nice even distribution, whereas 2 will set that with the peak resistance being at the top of the leg extension. So a really cool piece of engineering here in Prime with our leg extension. Pendulum squats, probably my personal favorite for the squat variations due to the degree of range of motion that people can find and use regardless of their biomechanics. So often due to people with a long femur or just long legs in general in relation to a short torso, they struggle to get great depth in their squat, whereas the angle and the support, I guess the external stability provided by this machine, keeps the lower back in a nice, I guess, straight alignment in regard to the shin angle at the bottom of that squat, giving you a really safe place to I guess, use such depths of range of motion. In terms of the strength curve itself, this is a real humbler. There is nowhere that you can cheat, and in relation to, let's say, its cousin in the hack squat, you're probably going to find yourself only using about a quarter of the weight in which you would probably be able to use in the traditional hack squats. So pendulum squats, one of my favorites quad builders. Here we've got the prone lying hamstring curl, pretty staple piece in all gyms. Moving on to the vertical leg press. Typically it's actually had a little bit of a bad rap, as a lot of people find that they don't get a a great range of motion due to being a little bit blocked up in their hips. Of course, that's going to depend individual to individual, but you can manipulate such things by changing the foot position on the plate. Bringing your toes further off the plate towards your face is going to give you a greater recruitment of, I guess, the hips being the hamstrings and the glutes. And I found it's a really cool place to actually do single leg work, as that range of motion no longer becomes an issue, as the body can, I guess, rotate a little bit underneath the plate. And also a cool place to do some calves if you would like. This is our power squat, or it's another variation of a hack squat, a free squat. I've seen it being called a bunch of other things. I first tried this piece a couple of years ago in a large warehouse gym, and just personally really liked the free range that it provided. Again, despite of your biomechanics and shape, it allows you to just have a really free squatting pattern while having a little bit of support provided by the machine to keep yourself pretty upright and stay out of the lower back. Cool place where you can load up a fair bit of weight and push the intensity while without, I guess, feeling too vulnerable of injury. The Adductor Abductor combo, one of our newest pieces, arrived here from Watson in the UK. Probably my favorite brand when it comes to gym equipment. Just the simplicity of their designs, and also the functionality and I guess the personalized option you can have in adjustments to make everything fit your body. So these just spin in and out, so you've got the choice of abduction, working outwards, and adduction, squeezing in. So that's our piece there. Over here, some of our last leg pieces, we've got the hack squat, so probably the best quad builder in my personal opinion. We do have the ability to change the angle of the foot plate, which is going to suit the individual's preference based on their ankle mobility, and again, where they want to put their feet, probably lower. We're going to have a slightly flatter angle, giving you a greater quad recruitment, pulling it a little bit higher with some higher stance if you were trying to utilize a little bit more of the hamstrings and glutes. And then you can see here in action at the moment, the 45-degree leg press, another staple in most gyms. As we come through the center of the gym here, you can see our decline hammer strength chest press. Again, pretty unique piece in the way that I like to execute it. I often grab the handles in the center and somewhat try and treat it as a bit of a hybrid in a press and a fly. Hammer strength shoulder press, pretty straightforward. Another new piece coming from Watson in the UK, the plate loaded pec fly. Again, just the stability provided by the machine in comparison to your free weight dumbbell, just giving you, I guess, safety and looking after the integrity of your shoulder joints while being able to lift with a little bit more intensity and safety. So I really, really like this. Again, we've got the pec fly and reverse pec deck. So with the pins pulled all the way in, facing into the machine, we would be working the rear delts and the upper back, facing out towards the mirrors, pretty traditional with your pec fly. Hammer strength row, again, these can be done individually or together. I probably prefer do them individually, but again, different handles for, I guess, different recruitments in your back. Coming through the center of the gym, we've got our two deadlift platforms with the Goliath deadlift bars, which have got a nice little bit of width and flex in them, and our steel plates. The first gym I ever trained in back in Tasmania when I was young, you had to put a coin in and go through a steel cage to even get into it. There was duct tape on the benches, and they had the old school traditional metal plates clanging and banging, which is exactly how it should sound in a gym, as opposed to, I guess, a lot of the safety in the rubber plates that I don't even believe weigh the full 20 kilos in Fitness First and so forth. More back pieces, we've got the hammer strength low row. We've got another piece by Watson here in the chest supported T-bar row. We can adjust the height of the foot plate there to suit the height of the individual. Again, more customization. We can change the width in which you're gripping. Watson again, high row, with the option of, I guess, a closer grip or further out, both comfortable in your pronated or supinated grips. Pretty standard staples in most gyms. We've got your seated rows and we've got your lat pull downs. We can actually see it being demonstrated at the moment with the prime handles. So again, as I mentioned with the leg extension, some pretty cool gym technology there with their handles to give you, I guess, a free range of motion, looking after the integrity of those joints and giving you a really strong grip to try and minimize some of the forearm recruitment that can happen in a lot of your pulling movements. With the Smith machine by Watson, it's a really nicely balanced Smith machine. Some of them you'll find they almost get momentum and become weightless at the top when they build up momentum. So just really well engineered, on brand with them, very simple, very clean, only here as necessary, just an honest, true, good Smith machine. Prone row, so laying down flat on the guts, also called a seal row, can be done with a barbell, can be done with a dumbbell. The thing that I really like about, I guess, the stability provided with that angle as well, is there's no ability for us to rock back and forth with the hips, and it's going to be a very true and honest lift, giving you a lot of back thickness and back strength. The animal hyperextension, probably the best hyperextension I've ever seen, which Watson have thought out really well in that they've elevated the plate, so that for those that are strong enough and want to overload it with either a barbell or dumbbells hanging, you can do so without any restriction on running into the floor, while also being able to change the angles from a really steep 45+ degree all the way down to a horizontal angle. And depending on that angle that you're going to use is going to influence whether you're going to get most glutes, most hamstrings, or most lower back in the spinal erectors. Tucked over here in the corner, again designed by Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell, same as the reverse hyperextension that we were talking about. This is the inverse leg curl. So unique again in the way that the more weight that you actually put on this, the easier it becomes, because that is counterbalancing and helping you back up out of that hole. So a fantastic accessory for anyone looking to improve their deadlift strength or athletic performance, given the importance of hamstrings for things such as acceleration and jumping. We've got one and one only piece of cardio in the gym here, one of the only ones that I like, also being the Stairmaster. Good place to, I suppose, get some good activation and warm up through the hamstrings and glutes, or spend a little bit of time grinding up on there with a weight vest and getting good sweat out. Into our calves, we've got our three options. We've got the seated calf raise, which is obviously done with a bent knee, which is going to magnify the soleus, which is more of an ankle flexor, whereas the gastroc, being the biggest muscle in the calf, or also acting as a knee flexor, is going to be more utilized in the straight leg variations with our standing plate loaded calf raise and the donkey calf raise. So again, unique. A lot of gyms don't have these anymore, but if you chuck it into Google donkey calf raise, you will probably see some photos of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his old training buddy sitting up on his hips, and I do believe that is where I suppose the idea and invention of this piece came about. So nearly concluding the tour now, we've got our dumbbell rack, a small hex dumbbell rack there from 1 to 10s, and then going up in 2.5 kilo increments up to 60 kilos. We've got our weight tree in the center, bunch of different benches, standard cable set, which is soon to be replaced with a new one by ProFlex. Phil is custom building that there. We're gonna have dual pulley lat pull downs off one side, standard lat pull down off the other, and some single arm stations. And finally, the hip thrust bench, great spot for us working the glutes, and our 2 Rogue power racks with all the, I suppose, specialty bars for you to choose from there, whether they be the cambered bars, whether it be the easy bars, the thick grip bars, the safety squat bars, and the dip attachments. Thanks for coming on the gym tour with me, and I hope you can visit Jungle HQ one day soon.